Hello, everyone, and welcome back to another one of our Sunday reading reflections. So, this week we are reading from the Gospel of Mark again. It's actually our final Sunday reading for this liturgical year from the Gospel of Mark, and we're reading from the Gospel of Mark, chapter 13, 24 to 32. And here we have Jesus talking about the end of times, and Jesus is reminding us that there's going to be signs that we're going to see. He talks about the moon being darkened, the sun being darkened, the stars going out and falling from the heavens. And he talks about after that, the Son of Man will return in glory on a cloud. So that Son of Man is Jesus. And the angels will come and gather all the righteous together. And he reminds us that, we'll be able to understand the signs of the time just the same way as we would understand the signs of the season. He uses the example of a fig tree and how when the branch becomes tender and puts out its leaves, summer is near. So I know for myself, when I see the trees right now the trees are losing their leaves because winter is coming. And after winter, spring comes. And then when about mid-spring, they start shooting out leaves. And we know that that's when summer's coming. And then again, when the leaves start changing colors, we know that autumn's here and that winter is going to soon be here. So we can tell the signs of the seasons. Jesus is also telling us to pay attention to the signs of the time, where, knowing that we should be able to prepare ourselves for the coming of Jesus. And Jesus also reminds us that no one's going to know when that happens. Only the Father knows. So we can't be like, oh, well, there's a pandemic, there's global warming, there's wars and famine. That means Jesus is coming now. We don't know that. It could be, but it could not be. We don't know. Because there's been lots of times in the past where there's been pandemics, there's been wars, famine over the past 2,000 years. So we need to be careful into worrying about the end of the world in the sense of it being right now. But we need to be able to be prepared for the time when we meet Jesus. And this is what Advent's going to be about. Advent's only a few short weeks away. We have 33rd Sunday of Ordinary Time now. Then we have the Feast of Christ the King the week after this one. And then the week after Christ the King is the first Sunday of Advent. So November 28th is our first Sunday of Advent. It's an early Advent this year. But this doesn't mean that we should, forget that. But when we look at Advent, Advent's about preparing for Jesus. Not just his birth, which we remember at Christmas, but also his second coming, when he comes again at the end of time. We need to prepare our hearts for Jesus. And I think it's very fitting to have this reading so close to Advent starting, because it's a reminder for us about the season that's coming up so soon. And Advent is a time for us, it's actually a penitential season, similar to Lent, where it's a time for us to prepare our hearts for Jesus and his coming. And this is where we can keep this reading in mind, how we don't know the time that Jesus is going to return. We also don't know the time of our death, because we might die before the second coming. Chances are we probably will. People for 2,000 years have been doing that. And they had to work on preparing themselves to be with Jesus as well. And this is why we have to keep in mind the commandment that Jesus gives us, to love each other as he has loved us. And this is a hard commandment, and without Jesus it's impossible. I'm not God. I'm not Jesus. I can't love like Jesus without his help. There's so many things I could think of that if I was Jesus I would have done differently. And thankfully I'm not, because that would not have been good. That would not be the way that Jesus loves. So I need to recognize that I need to love more like Jesus, and I need to ask Jesus to help me love like him. And we can all ask that of Jesus, especially this Sunday when we are thinking about his second coming, when we're thinking about when we're going to meet him again. Ask him to help you love each other like he loves us. And that's what I want to leave off as our challenge for this week, to ask Jesus to help us love our neighbors as he has already loved us. So until I see you again next week, I want to wish you a happy week. Know that I'm praying for you, and please pray for me. Bye.